All right, welcome to another installment of the Fragments of Silicon reviews. Four reviews up this week. The first of which is a game called, October Night Games. We are aware that it is no longer October. I'm like, um, it's just how the scheduling worked out between what was in the review queue, when the embargo ended, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so this is the first week this is the first time we could adequately talk about it. Let's just say, um, so it doesn't make for a serendipitous whatever. You know, more importantly, is the game gets reviewed, and this is a curious creation as it's a digital tabletop game, which is for 1 to 6 players. Yeah, it's and I'm assuming it's going for a Dungeons and Dragons kind of tabletop, you know, let's say strictly board game because it's you can play the single player. Um, I would not
Mm-hmm.
know because this game was assigned to Twilight to cover. So over to him on the details.
All right. Well, October Night Games is it's a board game. It's how do I explain this? Well, unlike most other board games, this game is not very rule heavy. Well, one of two factions. The keepers is the keepers are those of who are familiar with the supernatural, the occult, and whatnot. Who are basically protecting the Earth from outer threats of the supernatural, the whatnot, dangerous supernatural forces, basically. The Changers wish to summon these supernatural forces. In the case of this game here, they're trying to summon the Great Old Ones, which is, of course, Cthulhu. I can't say some of their other names, but those who are familiar with Lovecraftian
Cthulhu and
mythology.
them all.
Yeah, basically. All the cosmic horrors, basically.
Yeah.
Um,
This game does proudly tout that it was influenced by H.P. Lovecraft.
mm-hmm. Yep. Well, in order to summon the Great Old Ones, the best time to do this is on Halloween night. And of course, this game takes place over the course of the month of October. And Halloween night, as of course, if you're familiar with its origin, is that point in time where the barrier between the afterlife and the supernatural and whatnot in our world is at its thinnest. And they wish to open the gates so to allow the great old ones to come and take back Earth. Um, so you pick one of these two teams, and you're then tasked with preparation on the keeper side, preparing to challenge the changers by summoning some of the lesser horrors such as Nyarlathotep, and I don't remember some of their other names. They're like the Yellow King and whatnot, to gain their favor in order to strengthen your chances of stopping the changers. And the reverse is true for the changers. They're trying to increase their own chances to fend off the keepers from stopping them from completing their goal. So, yeah, though. So how you go about playing this game is you start off by um from a choice of well, first of all, there's well, I get to that a little bit later. But yeah, you start off from a choice of on here four, five, six, yeah, 7 characters that you can play as. Each one, of course, has their own strengths and weaknesses, their own special ability and whatnot. There's like starting off, there's the Doll Master. Her name is Madame Madelip or something like that. She controls living dolls and can capture the souls of human beings and control them by placing them in her dolls to do her bidding, basically. And her special ability is, of course, to take the souls of any humans that she encounters throughout the course of this game and use them as her puppets to fight for her or some other uses as well, like sacrifice and whatnot. I will get to that a little later on. There's the Mad Monk, who is you're probably if you're familiar with Rasputin, then you can kind of guess how this guy is. He has a special ability where he can convince. Um, yeah, he has a special ability called Holy Martyr. He can convince people to his way of thinking, and I, at least I'm assuming that much. I never really got his ability to ever work for me when I tried him out. But but if it's similar to the doll maker's um, ability, then yeah, he can get basically probably make people like his minions or whatnot. I'm just going off the assumption there. This the description of his ability is basically he can get people to listen to him and whatnot, and others as well as supernatural beings as well. The Desecrator, um, he has his ability where he can increase his physical abilities. There's combat in this game, which you don't come across very often, but it's there. I'll talk more on that a little later, of course. Um, yeah, he's got an ability called Blood Rage. That when he's in use, he can increase his attack strength and last until the end of that night when you're using it. Um, there's a naturalist. He's a werewolf, meaning that at the full moon, on full moon nights, he can transform into a werewolf. It'll make him stronger and more dangerous, and that's all that needs to be said about him. There's the witch. She has this dodge ability called astral trick, where she can swap her physical body for her astral body and avoid attacks from enemies in combat. Yeah, a lot of these abilities are mostly combat focused. Actually, I think they all are. There's the aristocrat. He's a vampire. He can drain the life out of his enemies to restore his own. And that's all that really needs to be said about him. Yeah, their uniqueness basically comes down to their abilities. And there's the Demon Queller. He has an ability called martial arts. He can let's see here the enemies. He can basically turn his enemy's attacks against him. Basically, the whole use the strength of your enemy against him type deal. So yeah, there's the 7 characters you can play as, and they've also got 7 familiars they can choose from as well. There's the guide dog, the cat, the owl, the bat, the beast, which is a larger cat, personally my favorite, and there's the snake. The reason I'm kind of glossing over some of these is because there ain't too much of a difference between them, I've noticed. Like the owl, he's virtually useless from my experience. He's um he's supposed to be able to give you advice. Well, I guess I can speak on their abilities, but most of them are kind of the same. Like the guide dog, the cat, the and the let's see here now, the and the beast. They all have the ability to basically gather items for you. Well, the owl is supposed to be able to give you advice, and the bat is supposed to be an informant for you, and I'm not even sure what the snake's supposed to be able to do it. I haven't really noticed anything from it. Um, well, I guess it's supposed to be able to give you a certain item, snake skin, I believe. I never really did come across it in the game. I'll speak on more on that in a little bit here. But yeah, from my experience, they're all kind of the same, and their abilities are passive. Like I never really got any advice from the owl. The beast and the cat always did their thing. They brought me items that I can use during the game. The snake and bat never really did do anything, but I think they can all bring you items. But yeah, that's kind of one of my issues. This game here, personally, I mean, it's fine that these abilities are passive, but they kind of work at random, basically. The the basically, I would say right now, just stick to familiars like the beast, the cat, and the guide dog. Their abilities seem to actually work, while the others don't seem to. And there's last but not least, in terms of starting out, there's roles, which come in the form of these items: the wand, the book, and the lamp. These are all have their uses at the end of each game you play through. Um, the wand is supposed to be able to heal and empower your allies. The book um, supposed to give you access to spells and allow you to resurrect your allies at the end. And the lamp is supposed to affect your opponent's minds. I get more into the whole mind thing there a little bit here. I never really was able to make use of these items though. At the end, I did about 2 playthroughs of the game, and I never was really able to use them. That's something I noticed. I'll speak more on that in a little bit here. There's a bit to get through here. But yeah, so the general gameplay itself here is that you select your character, your familiar, and the item that they'll be using, and each night you'll be given a choice of 3 locations to go through from your base and and gather up items to use for lesser rituals to summon other gods that you'll be gaining your favor from. But each ritual requires so many ingredients for it. These are various plants and things like bones and whatnot. they'll be gathering, and and you can gather as many of these items as you want to. You'll be finding at least about around like 3 or 4 of them at a time. But your goal is to gather at least one of these items from these locations. You can take more than one, but there's a bit of a risk to acquiring an item, though. You could hurt yourself. You could do something to harm you, basically. Your character's got 3 stats: health, mind, and a social standing. Um, your health speaks for itself. It's your character's health. Your mind is your character's sanity, and your social standing speaks for itself. It's your social standing with the NPC characters in the town this game's taking place in. Now, losing all of your health won't lead to your death, but it'll cause you to lose a few nights or turns, and losing your mind uh, will cause you to see hallucinations until you restore it. Yeah, your screen will get all weird looking and warped.
So you're saying you lose your sight when you lose your mind?
I guess you could say that. Yeah.
Do you wish someone would tell you you're fine?
Huh?
It was a terrible joke to lyrics to a song I don't even actually know very well.
I might not be familiar with it. But yeah, you can restore these stats with items. So yeah, you're going to want to restore your mind as soon as possible. It's arguably the worst one to lose. Well, besides your social standing, uh, which will cause you to get bombarded by NPCs who'll be attacking you. Yeah, this game has a combat system that it's dice. It's dice based. It's kind of weird. I never really was able to make a whole lot of sense out of it. That's the main problem I had with this game here. Nothing's actually ever explained to you when you start it. The game has has 2 modes. Well, 3 actually. There's the full moon game, and there's the dream game or something like that. It's supposed to be like a training mode, not exactly a tutorial. Yeah, Dream Quest. And it's basically this not a full game. It's lasts for 15 nights. It's supposed to give you the way to get the hang of things. The game never teaches you how everything works. There's a digital manual in the Steam library for this game, but even then, it doesn't. Honestly, it never did explain things too well to me. You're basically just going to be winging it for the most part while playing this game. But yeah, the combat itself is all dice based. You're selecting dice and attacks based on the item that you're going to have your character using. Like the doll makers attack dolls, for example, and a stake to attack undead with, and so on and so forth. You'll be fighting zombies and other supernatural beings. You'll be also fighting human characters as well, like a police officer. Let's see here. And I'm not sure how this honestly works, but you can actually get like the undead enemies to take your side for some odd reason. the beast cat and actually brought me a ghoul and made it my minion somehow. I don't know how that happened, but it just did that, and I actually kind of appreciated it because the ghoul could actually do what the familiars do with item gathering and such. But yeah, the combat is clunky. Um, Thankfully, you don't have to do it too much. You just that's a lot of this game here, just kind of blindly throwing darts at a board and hoping it sticks, basically, while you do things. Um, Another part of this game is this works best with in a multiplayer and during live multiplayer is bluffing your the other characters to and finding out who's on your side and who isn't on your side. Um, like both teams are divided up into teams of three on both sides, and during the course of the months, you've got to figure out who's on your side and who isn't, and be doing a lot of bluffing and whatnot. Like you're got these um, non-vocal messages you can send out to the rest of the characters to either help you or to threaten them and whatnot, and hope that helps you figure out who's who, basically. So against the AI, this doesn't really seem to do much of anything. However, you can gift items to the other players and to either help them or harm them. Like you can give them a healing item, or you can give them something dangerous like a voodoo doll or poison to harm them. That's actually kind of important for the last night um, during the final ritual where you'll be battling the other team in a combat system similar to the one against other NPCs. And the final ritual itself also doesn't make a lot of sense. Like you're trying to keep the other team from opening the seal, and and I can't really explain it to you. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me. And like I said before, the items that you acquire, the wand, the book, and whatnot, I know was never really able to use them during it. And yeah, yeah. The one problem I had with this game is the lack of explanation for things. They just kind of toss you into the final battle and with no explanation of what you're supposed to be doing. Something about getting the dice to match up with the seal on door or something like that, and like your team fending off the other team's attempts to open it, basically. And yeah, yeah, that's guess I know if I'm not forgetting anything. Let's see here. As for the lesser rituals, each time you succeed in one, like summoning like the Arthotep, for example, these summonings will give you like the first one, summoning the Arthotep will give you access to a item shop where you can pay um, with your health, your sanity, or your social standing to acquire items. And that can help you. And there's like the second summoning. It gives you access to sacrifices. I was never ever I was never able to make use of that, unfortunately. So I'm not sure how exactly it works. And there's the third rich lesser summoning. I'm not sure what exactly that I ever did. Uh, like it's supposed to, I think it's supposed to actually give you access to more dice to make use of during the final ritual, but I'm not sure. That's the problem with this game. Nothing's really explained here. You're just winging it blindly, trying to figure out what you're supposed to do here. The digital manual only goes so far. It doesn't even explain. It never really tells you what you're doing or supposed to be doing here and there. Like it didn't even explain that the familiars' abilities were passive. They just mentioned that they each have a special ability, and that's it. I guess it's kind of. I mean, I can actually see how this is supposed to work as part of the atmosphere of the game, with which it kind of works in a way, but it also kind of works against it as well. I mean, once you're familiar with the game, that's fine, but when starting out, sometimes you feel like you're banging your head against the wall, basically. There are little tips here and there, though, um, where you're playing the game. They kind of help, but only to a certain extent. Um, and yeah, in terms of gameplay, I kind of liked what it was going for. The whole um, battle to save the world, um, or to more or less rule the world by gaining the favor of the great old ones. Um, yeah, it was a neat idea for a game, but the lack of concretely explained rules kind of works against it. And the single player itself, well, it is fun. It can get kind of dull after a while since you're doing the same thing each night, um, over and over again. A turn won't last very long, though. I saw that there was settings for how long a turn can last, and so in terms of minutes, in terms of time, but a gameplay session won't last for too long. Probably about somewhere from 30 to 45 minutes, I guess is about right. But yeah, this is a neat idea for a game. I just wish I wasn't blindly trying to figure things out. I'm just repeating myself at this point. So I'll go on to the visuals, the graphics and whatnot. And yeah, I actually liked the visuals of this game. The monochrome characters, their realistic designs. It's kind of nice. Um, I actually quite liked them. It actually added a bit of creepiness to them, but they're the black and white, uh, or sepia, I guess is the term I'm looking for here. The grayscale look of them. I also like the design of the familiars and other creatures as well. The beast will never cease to amuse me whenever I look at it. um, um, the look of the supernatural characters, like the undead, the 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 cosmic horror gods are quite nice. I like the Nyarlathotep's design and some of the other ones that I've seen were quite good, to be honest. The environmental visuals was really good as well. It really gives off as to the overall creepiness of the game, especially when you visit the each of the three areas. They change from time to time, but they're each um, the way they're designed really works with giving them this otherworldly vibe. With the colors are used here, there's a lot of, I guess you could call it, in some cases, neon-esque type look to them when there's light involved. Um, but yeah, uh, they're appropriately creepy, basically. Um, the music and sound effects. Let's go ahead and say I don't really remember much of the sound effects, but the music, the soundtrack, however, is really good, and I will admit this, for me, besides the visuals, it was the highlight of this game. Appropriately very Halloween. I guess is the right way to describe it. It doesn't try to be disturbing, to creep you out. It has more of this almost mischievous vibe to it. Um, it would sound like something that you would hear for the Halloween season. Very wondrous, magical, almost whimsical in its tone. But in a way, you can see how one might find it somewhat creepy. Maybe not really. The previous descriptions actually work much better, I have to say. So that brings us to the game's price. Get to it here right quick. It's $15.99. Um, uh, I'll say that only get this if you're intent on playing it with friends. I'll say this right now. That would be the game at its best, honestly. It's quite clear. It's supposed to be like a mix of something like Mafia. I guess I could have mentioned that earlier with the whole figuring all the other characters out type deal. But yeah, something like a lot like Mafia. Basically, you're trying to figure out who is with you, who's against you, basically, and that would be the game at its best. Otherwise, don't expect too much from it in single player. I did 2 sessions of this game and on both sides, and I pretty much got all I really needed to get out of this game, and with that, and yeah, get this with the intent of playing with friends. You can get the game soundtrack for $5.35 right now. In the deluxe edition as well, and well, I already said that the soundtrack is really good. But yeah, so if you want to get this game, be ready to be figuring everything out for the most part on your own. If you don't like that, then you'll be probably want to play something else. Otherwise, I can recommend this game. Just get it with playing with friends in mind. And yeah, that'll be about it.
All right. So that'll about do it for October night games here. Be sure to tune in after the break as the Golics will be taking on Smoot's World Cup Tennis.